And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and it is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. I do hope you're having an awesome day. Going to have some fun. This is not Adrian. Adrian is with us, but he's in a private studio. We had to sequester him because of COVID-19. Just kidding. We are sequestering him down in San Antonio, Texas, with his family and his in-laws, and that's very, very cool. So we've got Greg Petri with us. And is it Petri or Petri? Petri. Perfect. Great. We've got Greg Petri with us. And this guy is like one of my idols. I've been a fan of his for a long time. He doesn't remember the first time we met, but I do. He is a connector of a magnificent level. I mean, just huge. And he's got something called One Business Connection, which is similar to BNI and all that stuff. We've been involved with him for a while now. He and Adrian are doing a bunch of stuff together. Greg, how are you, buddy?
I am really good.
And tell us about you a little bit.
I am from Colorado.
I know you are.
And you're from Colorado.
Correct.
And yeah, so I grew up in the mountains in Gunnison and went to school up there. And then I went to California for a while and then came back to Colorado and started One Business Connection 23 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Patrick Munson introduced us.
I remember that.
Munson was a mess.
I remember
And
that.
so, yeah. So Munson, if you've ever watched the show Seinfeld, there's that Newman. And whenever I say, I try to say, that's how I say Munson, just like Newman. Because when Munson shows up, something bad usually follows. So that's been just a great experience. He worked for me for a long time. Can't help but like him. And he introduced me to you. So I will be forever indebted. And my son should be completely indebted to me because I introduced you to Adrian. What do you think of Greg Petri, Adrian?
Excellent short-term recall and pronunciation skills, Tom. That was
Thank you very much.
I love this guy, and it has been really fun getting to know him. Greg, it's hard for me to believe that you were born in Colorado because you don't even have one of those native stickers on your car, which I thought was like a requirement if you were born here.
Oh, yeah.
But nevertheless,
Okay.
you got to get out. I'm going to get you one of those for your birthday. So I love this guy. And he and I have been building a relationship over the last year plus inside of this organization that he has built, which is phenomenal. And what I love about Greg is that he is an advocate for everybody that's in that organization. And he really is going out of his way to create win-wins and create opportunities for all his members. And you know, there's just something special about what you can do inside of a network group where there's really these strong relationships that, you know, many of them 20 plus years of people that have stayed with you this whole time, Greg. And so I think you're doing some really cool stuff. And I think that it shows that you have put in the work to build this strong foundation.
Yeah.
So he grew up in Gunnison, Colorado, Adrian. He's lived there forever. And so I started doing a little due diligence because one of our listeners in the world of contact mapping grew up in Sargents, Colorado, which is my cousin. And so I spent all my summers in Sargents, which is right by Gunnison. So then I said to Greg, do you know Drake? Have you ever heard the name Dale Stryker? And he goes, no, I've never heard that name. I go, I think he was a wrestler back when you were in high school. And all of a sudden he swallowed his cigar because Dale Stryker was like a legend. And all of a sudden he and I were so connected because he was a wrestler and he came in second in state twice.
I know.
And he so badly wanted to. Oh, I know. And his cousin, who you compete with like crazy, his cousin was better and ended up at Western State College and is forever haunted. Poor Greg. So now, do you know Steve Black?
Oh, of course.
Okay, good. Do you know Marcy Predmore?
Of course.
Do you know Michelle Barnes?
I don't.
Oh, no, she's one of your
my
Facebook friends that lives in Denver. So what you do is you constantly look for connections, everybody. And that's what you're a master of, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing to say something nice about what Adrian and you guys are doing is contact mapping, because it's just another parallel to what I do. Track and measure the connections, remember people because they appreciate that and really get to know who they are. And Adrian has created this software that I really like. Now I've written, this book on how to work by referral. I like to call it how to work by personal introduction.
Right.
Because I really think there's a different energy to it. But I've also written 5 books on this. The other ones haven't been quite edited yet. So,
Well, yeah, we only saw two. We saw,
Oh, this is my
we saw
heartfelt
this
book.
one. Yeah, that came from your heart. We published that on Facebook, said
Yeah.
that you'd written this, and this is just coming from your soul, right? What's that about?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about, right? Because you said I could talk about anything, right?
I know it,
Okay. Right now we need more unity in this world, right?
right?
And so this book is about unity. It's about how do you create peace and contentment and be the person that is always finding common ground with people. Because right now in the world, and I think you all kind of see it, everybody wants to divide. They want to say something that will divide. Why can't we say something that unites? Why don't we say things? And that's what this book's really about, how to be peaceful in this world. And one of my favorite authors was a guy by the name of Norman Vincent Peale.
Yeah.
He wrote a book called The Power of Positive Thinking. And he said, there was a chapter in that book that said a peaceful mind generates power. So when you're in a state of contentment and peace, that's where you can have the biggest impact on this world. And that's really what this book's about, right? In a lot of ways.
Are you an alcoholic or a drug addict?
I used to be. No, not really.
No,
No, I'm actually not.
I am. And you guys know that. And so every day I go to an AA meeting. I've been doing it for 31 years straight. And inside of that, we walk in the door and there's 40 people in that room, almost always, give or take 100. It's, they can get real big and get real small. I like to use 40 as the average. All walks of life, rich, poor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. Every religion, every sexual orientation, every color, every political party. And for 1 hour, everybody sits down and they fire all that stuff and they just have one common goal, which is to stay sober another day. And everything else is excluded, no outside issues. If we could live our life like that, where we turned off all that chatter and all that noise,
Right.
and lived inside of what this book stands for, which is fire your brain, hire your heart,
Right.
which Adrian has t-shirts and coffee cups for that. And also love like crazy, then love more, and stop figuring out why we're different and start recognizing why we're alike. Everything shifts, right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because there's so much commonality. There really is. And all we have to do is be aware of how we talk about it, how we express it, and how we really live it. And I'm writing another book, which kind of goes into what you're just saying. And it's called Stop the Monkey Mind.
Yeah.
Because it really is. It's the thoughts that you think create the division. And so, it's a 4,000-year-old Zen Buddhist concept, but still, it's really what it's all about.
Yeah. You can see this cup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we believe in that fire your brain, hire your heart I hate the name of your book, Stop the Monkey Mind. I would call it How to Eliminate Mental Masturbation. That would sell some copies.
People would like,
That would sell some copies, I guarantee
They
you.
would go, hey, I want to know what's in that book.
Yeah, they would, because you just have the wrong definition in your head, of course, of mental. So anyway, yeah, so that's what I would tell you to do. So that's just a tip from Todd.
Okay. All right. I like it.
The reason I wanted you on here, and Adrian especially, because Adrian loves this book, the reason we wanted you on, because we've been able to experience the power of your network. Even though you've been doing it for a long time, we've only been really close to it for a couple of years.
Right.
But we've gotten really in at a ground floor level of what you're talking about with personal introductions, meeting people eyeball to eyeball, actually getting together with them and creating relationship inside of groups. And you've done a masterful job of it. And we've gotten really a hall pass for contactmapping.com to be able to see what it is you're doing to make us better. Right, Adrian?
Yeah, 100%. And what it really comes down to is that ability to really get to know somebody, to really build a relationship. And, we could probably talk more about this after this first break, but, it's been an interesting last few months of watching you, Greg, as the leader of this organization, navigate that. But I think part of what has kept One Business Connection strong through this whole period of time is the fact that those relationships and those foundations were strong. And so people didn't immediately feel disconnected when they couldn't gather together in person anymore, because there were all these interconnections of nodes of people who had developed relationships with each other that were showing up because they wanted to see each other, because they had these prior friendships and relationships that get developed that then make it easy to do business together. And if you don't have that foundation, it gets, it starts to feel really transactional in a hurry, doesn't it?
Right, right.
For a person like Greg and for a person like me, I'm telling you, I think this whole pandemic was somewhat of a gift from God on the relationship side. Because here's what happened. I go to an AA meeting every day at 11th and Kimbark here in town. Same 25 guys around the table telling the same story every day. All of a sudden, that room shut down and I'm forced to Zoom. I'm going, there's no way in the world that there's going to be an online AA meeting that's worth a darn. Next thing I know, I started one with a guy named Tarzan Campbell from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We did it for 2 days on my Zoom room. He called me on the phone and said, Tom, clearly you are completely incapable of doing this the right way. He went out and bought the Zoom room. Now this guy's got a 24-hour AA club virtually. And my friends from all over this world, Russia, Argentina, Zurich, Switzerland, Mexico. I'm thinking of all my friends and we're all meeting for AA every morning at 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
That would have never happened. And we are all closer now because what we did was we took what was bad and turned it into good, which is what we have to be doing with this entire situation going on out here, right?
Well, and I was going to agree with you because I think, and you can think about it many, many ways, is this is a global reset.
Yeah.
And then you can call it a divine reset. You can call it many
I think
things.
it's divine.
And right now we are getting connections in Venezuela, New York City, Canada, all over the world that are being part of a larger global footprint. And that's really what I want to do. Let's unite these people from all different walks of life, all different countries, and we're doing it. We would have never done it if it wasn't for this.
So you've got Joe Blow from Westminster, and Joe Blow from Westminster has his cousin Lucy here from New York.
Right.
She loves 1BC. She goes back to New York. She wants to start a group. 5 minutes into it, she says, this is too hard. I quit. Now you've got Zoom where you can take that woman and you can nurture her. You can bring members from Westminster in there to completely set it up until it's got a life of its own. This thing is a blessing if we let it be, and it's a curse if we let it be. And what we need to do is choose. And that's literally everything to do with this, everybody, what business you're in. You're going to have to pivot. A lot of people laid off. It's heartbreaking what's going on out there. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now, inside of any travesty or calamity, there is opportunity. So all I want to do right now is thank Ted Anderson, Genesis Communication Network, for putting us on all these radio stations all over the world so we can get this message out, because it's important stuff. So we'll be back right after this. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Tom Chenault. And we're at the break. Did you see the background change?
Oh, yeah, cool.
Okay, now.
No, that was great. That's what I want to talk about.
I know.
Is the blessing, is
I could
the
feel
unity and all that kind of stuff. It's important right now.
Yeah, I know it. And doesn't contact mapping fit like a glove with what you're doing?
Oh, it's a complete parallel business. It just works right in hand. And we're not even scratching the surface of what we're going to do with it. We just aren't.
No doubt about it. And it is, the app's great. And, everybody's all at Twitter about the app, because the app is like a magic trick. You can Google your brain. You can take pictures of people. You can remember. You can pull up everything. That's pretty cool. But it's the application that's the most important part of actually understanding that your relationships are literally the only thing you have. It's the only thing. Look at this pandemic again. It has stripped us down of all the material, everything else. We're standing here literally naked, sitting next to each other. It's unbelievable.
In white shirts, naked.
White shirts, naked white shirts. What do you think of that, Adrian?
I think that there's a mental image that cannot be unseen now, but it's 100% true. And one of the things that Greg, I think, does really well in his own personal walk, and that he also does, that he shows people how to do, is it really is, the application, part of the application, you got to do the work. You got to measure what you're doing. You have to develop some discipline for yourself as you do this stuff, because if you don't have those things, if you don't know where you're aiming, and you're just having a couple conversations over here, and then you're going over here, and you're doing wherever the wind takes you, you're not going to end up where you want to go. It has to be heart led, but you have to actually build yourself some infrastructure or some structure around yourself to be successful as a networker, don't you, Greg?
Yeah, no, I think you do. And I think there are techniques and ideas and things that we can do. But again, I do believe, like on this coffee cup right here, if you're leading with your heart, if you're leading with right intention and with really, really wanting to, express the golden rule or whatever you want to call it, you do that, it all works. It really does. And one of my things that I'm really an advocate of is abundance thinking, abundance living, abundance mentality. Be in that state of wealth and opulence and abundance and prosperity, because that's where everything happens. And it's real, and you can crimp it and stop it, but only with your own brain, so don't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I do believe in skills and techniques and all that, and discipline is absolutely vital, but I also believe in just open your mind to what's fun about what we're doing right now. So we're doing are we about ready to go back on?
You're fine. You can cuss
Well,
for 30 seconds more.
Well, these virtual meetings that we're doing, like you're doing a virtual meeting, we're doing 35 virtual meetings a month, connecting people all over the world. And what's really fun about the virtual meetings is we call them open forum, meaning anybody can come. So it's not like the BNI model where you can only have one realtor. And we've had absolutely no complaints. Sometimes we'll have 3 financial planners on the same call. Nobody complains. Everybody realizes, hey, it's all about, there's plenty for everyone.
All right, we're going to go back on the radio here in a second, but you need to go to contactmapping.com. I mean, we have pivoted so much. There's so much crazy stuff coming at you right now. You will not believe it. But we're aligned with Greg, and I love you, Greg. We'll be a stick. 1 second. And we're back. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. It's Tom Chenault. I'm here with Adrian Chenault, and we've got our good buddy, Greg Petri, with us. He's from One Business Connection, and this guy is a rock star. And, we were talking before the break, and we were talking about kindness. And Tony Robbins, I don't know if you guys just saw that he did that huge deal with hundreds of thousands of people doing a 14-day challenge. And our dear friends of the show, Lisa Grossman, Curtis Broom, Angel Fletcher, Sean Murphy, and a bunch of other people decided that they're done with all this noise of hate and divisiveness. And they are up to exactly what he's up to. It's all about kindness. It's all about love. It's all about attraction. And none of that noise has a place, to the point that Adrian Chenault and Rick Manelius, his partner, are completely they're going to insulate us. And we can't even tell you what's happening there yet. But all of us need to understand there is no space in our heads for all this stuff going on. I don't know if it's fake news. I don't know if it's real news. I don't even know if it's news. All I know is it's distracting. It makes me feel yucky to have people saying and doing all this stuff to each other. We don't need it. And there's one way to stop it, and that's outlove everybody. Would you agree?
No, I agree. I think that if people would be less concerned on what's going on with the outer world and more concerned on what's going on in their inner world, it would heal everything very quickly, because it's a choice inside. You cannot be a crazy, dividing person when you are unified in your own self. You just can't. So go there first.
Make that that's exactly right. And get right with you. And we talk about that all the time. My premise, I was completely backwards in the way that I was doing business forever, until I finally realized I was going to run my life just like I ran my AA program, which meant work on myself, come from love and compassion,
right?
Do that rigorous self-inquiry, find a tribe I can share it with, then learn all the skills. I used to think I needed to learn all the skills first and then become a better person later. Become a better person first. And that Lisa Grossman and Curtis Broom, I just talked about those guys a second ago. randomchatsofkindness.com. randomchatsofkindness.com. Go to that site. And this is a timeless deal where nobody gets to say anything bad about anybody. Mm-hmm. Nobody gets to think anything bad about anybody. We give that part up. And all we do is look across that field of sunflowers and not see that one weed. We just see that expanse of sunflowers. instead of everybody focusing on the weed out there, whatever it might be. And I love you, Lisa Grossman, for that. I love you, Curtis Broom. And I really love you. I mean, I do. And I'm glad my son and you are becoming much closer, because I sense you've got a lot bigger heart than you have anything else. And I like that.
Well, I just believe in your message. The message is unity, unity. And I really do think there are techniques and ideas and things that we can all do on a pragmatic level, which is be very careful how you send out emails. Be very careful how you text people. Be polite. Use thank you. Use, you're welcome. Do things in the way you say things that will not alienate people, because it's so easy to say, okay, I'm this way and you're that way or whatever. And I think if we make a conscious effort to do this, then we are going to create a movement of people that are full of energy and love and compassion, inspiration. And they do know it all starts with our own selves inside.
And my daughter, she's heavily involved with all that's going on with the protests and all that stuff. And she came to me and said, Dad, I need to have a conversation with you about microaggressions and your sexism and your racism. And I'm going, what the heck are you talking about? But by the time we got into the conversation, it got deep and it got hard, and she was right. And I love my kids for being able to teach me that stuff. And Adrian, you can't say the word that I said the other day that you looked at me and you just looked me straight in the eye and said, don't ever say that word again, Dad. And you said it like, don't you ever say that word again, Dad. And it was a word that Dad shouldn't have said. But what I love about my kids is they're not afraid to tell me to straighten up and fly right. Would you agree with that, Adrian?
Would you agree with that, Adrian?
Do you remember that conversation?
I do. We have a special relationship, and I'm really thankful to have a dad that will take feedback from his kids, because not a lot of dads will. And even embarking on starting contact mapping together, you and I, you're somebody who's accomplished a huge amount. You're somebody who is the expert and the godfather of the idea behind what our company that we've co-created was about. And I said, I want to start this company with you, and, but I'm going to be the CEO of it. And so that's going to have to work. But, there was a part of me that wasn't entirely sure that, that I wasn't going to get second guessed at every turn, or whatever, just because you have every right to have a really strong opinion about everything. And I'm sure I do all things all the time that you go, that's not going to work, but you bite your tongue. And that's a really important thing, whether it's a father and a child relationship or whatever relationship it is, that just because you think doesn't mean, I think that's, again, this unity thing. Sometimes the relationship, I think always the relationship is more important than having to be right in any given conversation in any given moment. And I think that's an important lesson for all of us to learn as leaders and parents and networkers and friends.
We'll go ahead and talk right through the break then. All right, we're coming back right after this. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Tom Chanel and my good friend Greg. We'll be right back. We only missed it by 19
I ended it on 28 and it turned 29 as I stopped talking.
Oh, you beautiful moment. That was so cute. All right, it's his first rodeo, everybody, but now we're in the commercial break. It's a long break. Are you going to give
how long?
It's about 3 minutes.
Right?
Is there? Are you going to? Yeah, you can go to hit it. I would have gotten fired by Adrian for doing that right there, folks.
You did get fired on the last break.
I know. I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't keep track, and I wanted to know what that random chats of kindness was. I'm telling you, Lisa Grossman. She said, we've got to make the kindness louder than the complaining. And I think that's what they're doing. I think she and Sean and all these big-hearted people, Angel Fletcher, I mean, it is crazy what they're getting done. And so Pasha, I mean, people like that, I couldn't believe it. I was supposed to be on a Facebook Live the other night, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I was like the flake in the whole deal. But they got some views, and I cost myself money. That's all I'm going to tell you. What do you think about contact mapping, buddy?
So something cool that's going on today that we should just be continuing to talk about is that we released a book on Amazon recently called The Coffee Shop Interview, which is this tiny little guide that is a 15-minute read that is a ton of value, and it costs $1. And it went to #1 in a couple of categories on Amazon already. It's going back there today. And it's really, really exciting, the response that we've been getting. You can get it as a Kindle book for $1. You can get it as a paperback, I think, for $5.99, and it's a great read, and it's really helping a lot of people, and it's been fun getting to see people who are sending us photos of, you know, actually having a physical book that has our name on it sitting in their house, and just you know, some friends of ours that checked it out recently and said they had out of town guests and couldn't believe the conversation that they had with these old friends of theirs as a result of that. And so whether it's for work or for, you know, personal relationships, that stuff makes a big difference.
And the name of the game is you finally learn how to be interested instead of interesting, and you learn how to hire your ears and fire your lips. Most of us are so afraid to stop talking because we're afraid we're going to lose. It's unbelievable. And once you learn how to control conversations and ultimately win with questions, it's unbelievable. And one of the most important things in Greg's book, The Power of One, is understanding that your network equals your net worth, and it better have some income. Your networking better have some income goals, or there's going to be a problem.
Right.
And
I agree with that totally.
yeah, and when you look at Gary Vaynerchuk or you look at Barty Toto, Gary Vaynerchuk is kindness, 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 ask. Barty Toto is gratitude, 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 ask. Tom and Adrian Chenault are love, 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 ask. But I am going to tell you, you got to have that ask in there because people feel ripped off if you don't.
Interesting.
True story. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, no, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So please, I'm asking you right now to go buy the Contact Mapping, the Coffee Shop Interview book on Amazon. I'm asking you. So I love you. I love you. I love you. Go buy the book. So what do you think of that, Adrian? Right?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's right. And you're going to learn how to ask for what you want inside of that too, right? Because that's the name of the game, is that you got to learn how to figure out what somebody's really trying to get out of their life. And then you've got to figure out how to connect what you have to what they're looking for. And when you do that, you're making that ask, but it doesn't even really feel like an ask to them, because it actually is, it's really serving them because it's connecting to what they want. And so you got to go and check this thing out. It's the best dollar you're ever going to spend. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, and if you feel ripped off because it's only 22 pages long, so you might say that's not worth the buck. You call me and I'll Venmo you the buck back, because that's just that simple. So we're not going to let anybody go, oh, I got ripped off by Tom Chenault. So I'll Venmo.
No, PayPal only. Sorry.
No, Venmo. All right, so here we go. We're coming back right. We're going to be coming back on the break. Adrian kind of went over, so we got to kill a couple more seconds. Just kidding. So I love these commercials. Contactmapping.com. Here we go. And we're back. It is Tom Chenault. It's Greg Petri. It is Adrian Chenault, and it's the Network Marketing and Leadership Show. And this guy's got one business connection, but people are hitting me like crazy on where to buy this book, B, The Backroad Guide to Personal Awakening. And somebody posted a website called tobeistheanswer.com. Is that you?
Yeah, tobeistheanswer.com.
Yeah, so you can get it there. Where else
Nice.
can you get it?
We can get it on Amazon, but you kind of have to put in Backroad Guide to Personal Awakening for some reason.
In
For
Amazon?
For Amazon to pull it up.
Okay, we'll get that noted. But on the radio all over the world, here's what you need to know. The book is called B, The Backroad Guide to Personal Awakening. If you're buying it on Amazon, and if you're just simply going to buy it on the web, tobeistheanswer.com. So make sure you go buy this book, because this guy has really put his soul into this book, not his brain. He put his heart and his soul into it. And those are important things. And I'm telling you what, this thing's got some words in it. It's got some pictures in it. It's a work of art. You want to buy it. How much is it?
I think it's $29 on Amazon. But what I was going to say, just one thing, a good friend of mine who was an artist for 29 years put in about 15 to 18 full color, unique pieces of artwork. So it really is like an heirloom piece of art. And I think you'll really like that part of it too.
Yeah. And those of you in the sales business that are watching this show today on the last day of the month, knowing that business closes in a couple of hours, wherever you are, I just want to thank you.
Good.
And taking a little break out here and watching this guy with all of his heart and Adrian with all of his heart try to exude kindness into the world, that is really, really heartwarming for me that you're watching this. And that includes you, Lisa Grossman and Curtis Broom, because I'm telling you, you got a million things to do. You've got giant businesses, and paying attention to us is probably the last thing on your list. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I hope we're giving you a soulful break. You love Lisa Grossman. You're in Texas. That's where Lisa is, Adrian.
I know, only like 5 hours from her, but
Okay, drive over there.
I'm in the same state.
All
So Greg, you have such a big heart for, really that personal development and the whole soulfulness that underpins being successful in business and being successful as a networker. Where does that originate from for you?
Well, I do like sales. And this is the last day of the month, and we have closed probably 5 or 6 or 7 or more sales today. So I did door-to-door encyclopedia sales in California for 14 years. So I understand the commission idea and how to really say, okay, let's take something and not only have a dream, but execute. So I love execution. But my whole life has always been in search mode, Adrian. When I was your age, which was, many, many years ago, I would travel. I would go around to different countries. I was in India. I was in Nepal. I was in, Afghanistan, for God's sakes. And, always in search of what's the truth? What's the meaning of life? And there comes a point when you search for it, you will find it. And what I have come up with is my definition of success. And my definition of success is remain and always be in a state of well-being. When we do that, we can add kindness. We can unify. We can do the things that we need to do in this world. Stay in a state of well-being. And I can go further on that, but I mean, that's a general idea.
I met the most amazing woman today from England. And I talked to her on video, and her name is Vicky Thomas. And she's got something called HIT-talks.com. And basically what her whole supposition is, she's going to change the world in 8-minute TED Talk segments. And because she's got research that proves that 8 minutes is where learning occurs. And then all the way to 18 in a TED Talk is where feeling occurs. But this woman is so much heart. I just can't believe it. She's beautiful. I met her via Robert Kiyosaki, via J.W. Wilson, and she's changing the world. And we're going to get her on her. But I'm really happy that she's watching from England, watching you, because we are all so connected. And if we let that connection occur versus doing what we're all trying to do, which is agenda and positioning, if we just let the universe feed us, we win, right?
Yeah. Can I read a quote off of the back of my book?
Yeah.
Okay. And you might have heard of a guy by the name of John Muir.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Naturalist. And I ended the book on the back that said, tug on anything and you'll find it connected to everything else in the universe. I mean, that really is the key to networking. And we are all connected at such a level that sometimes we can't even imagine. It's so magical.
One of my best friends is a guy named Chad Williams, and he lives in Indiana. He came up here from San Antonio as a result of a guy named Sean Murphy. And he lived in the parking lot behind here for a year and got his life straightened out on a multitude of levels. And then he went back out to Indiana. And watching this guy connect with people via me is unbelievable, because I don't care where your station in life is. Most of you know somebody that can do you some good, because most of you know me. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it can.
It makes sense, because I'm telling you, there's nothing I won't do for anybody, especially the underdog. And what you have to remember is that you know somebody, and you have to have the guts to love, ask. And there's so many people that ask, and maybe love. That's backwards. That are users of people. Right. You've got to do that 4 or 5 times. You got to love 4 or 5 times before the ask. But if you guys get into that, where you're making a contribution 5 times more than your ask in life, you're going to win. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And Adrian told, said a little bit about my commitment to personal development. There's a book written by Napoleon Hill, and many people don't know what that book is. It's a lost classic called Think Your Way to Wealth. And it discusses the 17 principles of success by Andrew Carnegie. And one principle is go the extra mile. And that's exactly what you're saying. You got to do more than you're expected to do. You got to do more than you personally expect yourself to do. And when you do that, success is a natural byproduct. It just is.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Richard Gaylord Briley?
I have not.
See, Norman Vincent Peale's ghostwriter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I know him. So the point I make is every name he drops, I try to drop a name on it, because I'm telling you, the name of the game, all of you are connected at levels you're never going to believe. If you've just got the ability to bounce out of it, read this book, The Power of One Business Connection. Read The Power of Who. Harvey Mackay exemplifies that. But the name of the game is you've got to have the boldness to make the ask with integrity. And where the integrity shows up in the ask is the 5 nice things that you did before the ask. Does that make sense? And that could be just a follow-up or a touch. But you've got to show people that they, number 1, that they can trust you.
Right.
Number 2, that you love them. Number 3, that they're safe with you. And number 4, that they belong. And I promise you, everything's going to shift and they're going to be in your camp. And if one of those is broken down, I'll guarantee you're not going to make the transaction. It's that simple. Is that cool enough?
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. And, I do think that in my book, I talk about, we're not here to create relationships. We're not here to, just get to know people. We're here to create advocates. Because, Tom, I'm an advocate of you. I'm an advocate for a lot of reasons. One reason, you're just fun to hang out with.
You kicked me out of the last time. Oh, wait a second. You're a lying sack. The last time there was a meeting, it was in the middle of COVID, and Adrian and this guy were sitting in this room. They're like 10 feet apart from each other. I come blowing in to kind of bless them both. And the guy looks right at me and goes, you know what? We're never going to get anything done with you here. Get out of here. That happened. You remember that day?
I do.
Thank you very much.
But I did it in a nice way.
It was
right. It was very nice.
So kind.
But yeah, let's be advocates. Like Adrian, I'm a 100% advocate of you. I'm an advocate of what you do, of your vision and what you're accomplishing. And, let's just work together. And when we do that, it's kind of like a quote by Jim Rohn. He would end his seminars many times by saying, let's do something remarkable together. We're already doing remarkable things, but what can we do remarkable together is just hugely powerful.
It's so true. And it's remarkable how I think it's easy to underappreciate your ability to create those kind of advocates, right? Because somebody may not even be somebody that makes sense to be a customer of your business, whatever that is. But if you treat them the right way, and if you give them the track to run on, so to speak, they just want to be a part of something. They just want to be seen. They want to be valued, and they don't necessarily need to be paid, right? That might not be the thing that they're really looking for. They're looking for connection. They're looking for recognition. They're looking to be a part of something bigger than them. And I have been blown away by the number of people that go around talking about contact mapping all the time because they feel connected to this cause. And sometimes I'll even go and find out that they don't even really use the app themselves, but there's something about it that they're just so passionate. And it like funny. that baffles me, but it just shows you that you really can create these advocates in whatever business you're in, that they will go and beat down doors for you that you could never have beaten down yourself. And they don't want to be paid. They just want to be loved and seen and cared about, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, men will die for ribbons. I don't know if you ever heard that. But a lot of times you don't know what people want. Sometimes they just want recognition. They want a platform. And that's what my mission right now is to create a global platform where people can connect with opportunity, where people can connect with powerful people. And that's really what I'm doing and we're doing right now. And it's just exciting.
And what we like about it is we believe like you are LeBron James in about the 4th grade. And we're happy that we glommed onto you at such a young age, even though you're not a spring chicken biologically. Your business is at this point where I feel like it's right on the launching pad. And what we can contribute to you and what you can contribute to us is magnificent. So 1 + 1 = 10. I was on the phone with my buddy Eric Worre yesterday, and just a bright guy. And the entire conversation was the same conversation as this. How can we make this world better? And I love people like that. This is a kid. He's a kid like Adrian. And to see these young people grasping the important part of life versus what I missed. I was just chasing money. I was a despicable human being. Well, I was just getting to the end of my drinking when I was Adrian's age. In that final 3 years until I was 37, horrible things happened. But I'll tell you one thing right now, watching Adrian be this person, watching his sister Courtney being that person, watching Taylor Worre, it warms my heart because I really believe with everything going on in the world that it's brought us back to what's important, and that is human connection. And these kids are leading the way.
No, you're exactly right. And when I said that earlier, it's like a global reset. And it's not just resetting human dilemma. It's not just resetting human drama. I mean, think of all the pollution and all the things it's solving right now because of the lack of, we're creating a better world in a lot of ways.
We got to take a break. We're going to come back right after this for the final segment with Greg Petri and Adrian Chenault. Stick around. And we're at the break.
Is this being recorded, this part?
Oh, yeah.
All
the
right.
break.
Okay, I thought that's why I was
made it.
Oh, no, you walk off. Adrian, that's his pet peeve.
I didn't know that. I thought this was just a conversation.
As an employee of yours for the last 2 years, truly the only temper tantrum you've had in 2 years was when I kept walking off this desk during the breaks. You kept getting mad because I would leave you on the beach, right?
Well, I apologize.
The real clincher is he made a habit for a little while that he would get up and he would then proceed to walk across the camera to get out to go get a cup of coffee and have a smoke or whatever he was doing. And one day I just lost it. So it was not one of my best moments.
Yeah, he had to apologize. That's even better when your son has to apologize to you. Like, Dad, I'm sorry I took you to the woodshed. So that was pretty cool. All right. So Adrian, what's going on? Anything else in contact mapping we need to know about during our commercial break?
That's right. So the last thing I want to talk about, and we did a live about this earlier today. It's social media day today, and which is hilarious to me, by the way. But anyways, it's social media day, and here's the thing, you guys. We talked about this earlier, right? There's so much disunity in the world right now, and yet there could be this could be such a time where it should be a time of unity. We're all in this thing together, like on a level that we've never seen before. Right. And I feel like we had a couple of weeks where we all kind of grabbed onto that and then it all just kind of blew up. But we get to be that change in the world. And so contact mapping has a couple of things that are going on that I'm really excited about. One of them is that we've just made the app free. So there's a free version of the app that you can go and try out right now. It's free forever. You don't have to put a credit card down or anything. We want to have the biggest impact possible in the world, and giving you a free version that you can use forever is a big part of how we're going to do that. So that's exciting. But the bigger thing and where we're going to put a huge amount of emphasis as a company is really on community and this social media concept that we're all talking about. Part of what I think is just like watching the news. If you watch too much of the cable news, you're just you're going to think the world's going to hell because that's the message that's the overarching message of the news, no matter what's going on. Yeah. I think if you're spending too much time on traditional social media right now, that's kind of like if you aren't tuning your own diet on social media, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to give you this sense of disconnection and frustration. And so we are getting really proactive about how we go and create a community of people that say, no, we're not going to do that. And instead, we're going to live through connection and unity, and we're going to play big. And you want to be a part of this thing. And so there's some things coming in the next couple of weeks that are going to blow your mind, because it's going to be so cool. And you want to connect to that. So go to contactmapping.com, sign up for a free account, and send me a note. You can find me on Facebook as Adrian Chenault, or shoot me a message at adrian@contactmapping.com. But I want to connect with you directly. So let's do that.
But that's still hogwash. Here's what you want to do. You want to go join the Contact Mapping community group right now. contactmappingcommunitygroup.com or whatever it is. It's on Facebook. Because I'm telling you, he's going to pull something off. And all of a sudden, you're going to look around and you're going to say, where are all the cool people? And they're going to be someplace else because Adrian's going to have that all set up. And I don't want you to miss it. So go to Contact Mapping Community Group right now and join it. It'll take you 2 seconds. Pamela's putting up the link right now. Trust me, I'm a doctor. I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Do it.
All right. And then,
Hold it. You can't.
are we done?
No.
Oh.
And we're back. It's Tom Chenault. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We've got Greg Petri right here. We've got Adrian Chenault down in San Antonio, Texas. And we are changing the world with love, with compassion, with doing things the right way to include everybody, to exclude no one. You need to interview people every day. Western State College, grew up in Gunnison, Colorado, wrestler, great guy, has a cabin up by Eldora, doesn't take his wife there, has hummingbirds, unbelievable.
Wait a minute. Why don't I take her there? That's
because she doesn't want to go. So at the end of the day, you need to find out everything you can about the person across from you or next to you that's not on Facebook or social media. Because the next time I see Greg, I'm going to ask him how the hummingbirds are. He's going to swallow his cigar. He's going to start crying. He's got 14 hummingbird feeders around his little cabin because he loves them so much. And no one knows how much he loves them but me. And I'm telling you,
true.
That's going to be the difference maker. Wrestling in high school, that's the difference maker. You couldn't find that with a microscope on any of the social networks. You only find out when you ask the questions. It's a beautiful thing. It works. And I'm telling you, we love you, Greg. You're a big difference maker.
Well, yeah, and again, I want to do something which is have a global footprint. And I would say if you have organizations anywhere in the world, those are good connections, business organizations, progressive organizations, positive organizations. Connect them to me, connect them to Adrian. Like yesterday, I was talking to the director of the Broomfield Chamber, Adrian. He wants to meet you. They don't even know anything about it. So there's so many people don't know about this. Let's get them involved. Let's get them these connections and track these connections. And you've heard it many times. The fortune is in the follow-up, and that's what contact mapping does.
And contact mapping, the app, just won some big award, didn't it, Adrian? What was it?
Yeah, we were named with a group called App Samurai that are just these amazing people on uncovering the best apps out there. And we were number 7 of the top 50 or so apps to be watching in 2020. And so it was really cool to be, featured on that list. And big honor. So that was pretty cool.
That's real cool.
That's very shocking. Did you have to pay the guy or anything, or is it just?
Oh, it's
crazy. Unbelievable.
I just told him there was a wire on the way, and he believed me.
It's so exciting. The name of the game, everybody. And just do right. Just do good things.
Right.
People say, Tom, what's your job? I go, network marketing. What's your passion? Alcoholism and drug addiction. What's your legacy? Contact mapping.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I believe about me.
Right.
Contact mapping, drugs and alcohol, helping people. Pop my eyes open at 2:00 in the morning. I fly out of bed. Just a few minutes ago, we were talking, and I said, I was talking to a guy this morning at 4 a.m. He goes, what were you doing up at 4? I go, that's when I get up. But that's what I do. I get up so early because I can't wait to get out of bed. I can't wait to watch the sun come up. I can't wait to get the day started. Wow. I'm going to be 69 years old tomorrow. I just time-stamped this show, by the way.
Yeah, no,
but at the end of the day.
No evergreen.
Yeah,
sorry.
At the end of the day, what's your grandfather doing? I guarantee he's not popping out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, waiting to go to work. And that's what you want your life to be, man. I have meaning, and that's a good thing. I can make a difference. I'm not smart. I'm not deep, but I'm committed to communication and kindness. And I'll take that any day of the week, right?
Well, I think you might be smart and you might be deep. I really do think there is that possibility. You don't want to verbalize those limitations. But, I just agree with you. I agree with you. You're doing good things. And one of my favorite quotes is by the 14th Dalai Lama. And he said, my true religion is kindness. All we have to do is practice that. Practice it not just in the way we act, but practice it in the thoughts we think. I think that's even more important.
I have a friend named Stan Harris. I have a friend named Les Brown. And now I have a friend named Greg Petri that can pull a quote out of the sky about anything. And we don't even know if it's true. But the fact is, you see me just look over there to see where the quotes were written. He's probably got invisible ink here. He is schooling me on the quotes. I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, very, very cool stuff, Greg.
Yeah, and so a quote by Tom Chenault: "I am smart and I am deep." Right?
Yeah,
There you go. That's a good quote.
I tell you this, my quote is, I'm 69 years old, and it has now been 47 years since somebody looked at my report card. People don't care how smart you are. They care how kind you are, how loving you are, how much you care about them. That's what people care about, not your money, not your intellect, that. And I'm going to stick with that story all day long. Next week we've got Kim Kiyosaki on the show. That's going to be unbelievable. The following week, we've got Larry and Taylor Thompson on the show. That's going to be unbelievable. I just heard about a debate maybe coming down between Taylor Worre and Troy Dooley that we might air around BDC's, business development agreements. And that's kind of exciting. So we've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pike. But I'll tell you, if you do anything today, go buy this book. Be the Backroad Guide to Personal Investing. Get this book, and this is a good little coffee table book. And for sure, go buy The Power of One Business Connection. You can buy it on Amazon or you can buy it on his website. But whatever you do, connect with people. Show them your heart versus your wallet. Show them your heart versus your report card. Show them your heart versus literally everything, right?
I mean, that really is it. If we all did that on every country, every continent, every place, there would be no strife.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see y'all later.
That was fun.
How was that? Not bad, huh?
That was fun.
Great job, Greg. That was fun.
Here, this is your copy.
I get to keep it?
Yeah, but I have to write
nice.
something in it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All
All right. This is not for sale on eBay for at least 1 week. No, it's still in the area.
Oh, are we?
All right.
Well, I've got to think of something crazy to write in here. That's what I got to
Are
think.
we doing the show after the show or are we done?
This was a great job, everybody. Thanks for listening. We love you, Adrian. I love you like a son. I feel like I've
I
known you all
love
your
you
life.
like a son. That's kind of cool.
Goodbye. Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Adrian.